Good morning, YouTube. Welcome to the fantasy forecast for Monday, March 7th, 2016. I'm going to slow down a notch today. We have a normal lineup lock time today, and there's no power here right now. So this is all getting done with batteries, cellular data, and I apologize in advance and if it's a bit dark. I'm just doing the very best I can. You know what I mean? It's just what you can do. I'm getting as much light as I can come in. I think it's fine. First up though, let's review the wild results from yesterday. I'm going to go ahead and focus on the iPad. We got battery and cell, so we're good. Alright. And this is going to be the Roto Grinders lineup for yesterday. We start out with them for the optimals. We review the results for those of you that are new to the channel. If we can focus, come on. Okay, that looks pretty good there. Okay, so we're focused. Anyways, with Curry and Smith, Roto Wire, we didn't have Roto Grinders yesterday, remember. Roto Wire projected this at 293, and it ended up scoring 225, which was quite horrible, to be quite honest. Again, the Pachulia thing at the bottom, it's like if you didn't have Len, you really needed Len no matter what, because it was such a high scoring day. All right, moving on, let's go to Fantasy Pros. And Fantasy Pros, I always complain about that Pressey pick, and that was a huge problem there yesterday, obviously. But, I mean, really, Westbrook was an issue at 10,000. There were a lot of good choices at point guard you could have taken yesterday that paid quite highly, and so, 288 did not get it done. They did project at 281, so, they scored 7 points higher, but it's just a matter of needing a lot more. Okay, let's go into Daily Fantasy Cafe, and they projected this at 313. However, they scored a 293. Okay, so, and the issue here, OJ Mayo, yes. Everyone else is okay. Ish Smith was probably not as good as you needed for the value, though. Westbrook definitely wasn't. Covington paid value, but on a day last night, like, it was just value. You can see Len at the bottom. Grant didn't really pay. I think he's 5,000, and like 4 times on a day like last night, and same with Teletovic. It did not get it done. All right, let's go on to the sample GPP that I did to replace Roto Grinders, and that scored a 321, I believe, right there. And even this, guys, wasn't enough for cash yesterday. I still had the Stevenson pick and everything, and even though it hit 320, which normally would be enough to pay a GPP, it wasn't enough yesterday. Grant didn't hit value, Zebo didn't hit value. I had Durant and I had the Greek Freak, which, were helpful, but Livingston and Westbrook at the top, if you pay $14,000 for salary, $15,000 for salary, and you only have 55 points, you're screwed. Westbrook hurt us. All right, so the GPP didn't do it, and let's see, as for my own recommended cash lineup, and yeah, I tell you guys I do it in cash, let's see. I projected it to score 300, and it scored a 316. Where is it? Here it is. And there it is. I don't know why it does this little rotating thing. Maybe it's because I'm on cellular data. I'm not sure. But it wasn't enough to cash, guys. 316 wasn't enough to cash, even in a $1. Daryl Arthur really hurt me, though, when you think about it, because the lineup looks pretty solid there, even in terms of value all the way across the board, until you get to Arthur and when you think about Westbrook. So it was just one of those days, guys. Okay. Anyways, I hope you guys found values from my projections and at least made your own lineups. If you had the Greek Freak, I very highly projected him. I think it was the highest of everyone, and he exceeded even that. And I basically said, just take Len. The guy went off. So if you had those guys anchored in somehow, you probably did okay. Now, for the GPP that I announced on Twitter, this actually did, pay. It's right here. It did 331. But even 331 was on the borderline, guys. Look at that, number 47. And, it was barely enough to get paid on the $1 50-50 hedges. The $2 I would have lost. It just would have happened. And you can go back and you can see there was even a couple, one I lost here. I was 51st. One position up I would have won it. I wonder how much I needed. All entries. Look at that, I needed another point and 1.1 points or something. Just to 332 was the cashing line on a 50-50. That was just crazy yesterday. The free rolls, of course, none of those things paid. But I won because I hedged. All my tournament entries are always hedged with 50-50, so, that at least covered me there. All right, so let's move on again to the late slate. Now, this is the first time I ever made a late slate projection, guys. I did it on Twitter, and I would just ask for one at the last minute to pull all the guys out of my computer and do it, and I did it. And it saved my ass at the last second, guys, there. It even won the NBA shot, barely. And at $2.99, this is what you see on a normal night, you know what I mean? But there just weren't enough things in there. All right, 3 games. So with 3 games, $2.99, that was good. But all right, and thankfully it paid. It gave me a good balance to go for today. And let's go ahead and see what today's entries are. We're going to get onto the optimal lineups. Oh, and by the way, like with those entries I was showing you real fast, I recommend highly you do this $1 50-50 strategy. I'll show you. I did the same thing again with mine, just real fast for cash before we get on. I did that. I highly recommend using that strategy. It's going to become very important with these late days and the crazy wild contests, at least until FanDuel is more willing to restrict its top users from entering every single available contest. Okay, so optimal lineups, guys. I don't have projections ties without power. I really need my computer running. So there's just not much I can do about it. So I'm going to ask you guys to please be patient with me about not getting projections out on all the players today. If you need to know about a guy, just comment here or send me a message on Twitter, and I'll do my best to estimate a projection for you. And I do have a surprise for you guys today at the end of the optimal lineups of my own to make up for not giving you projections. Okay, so we're going to start with Roto Grinders here. And Roto Grinders, you know what? I'm going to try to focus this in a little more for you guys just while we're going here. Let's try to see if I can get a little more out of it just to make you guys all happier. I don't know. We'll see. Try to get this in a little bit more. I hope that's nicer. Okay. So, Roto Grinders, they're projecting this lineup to come in at 288. And they have Holiday and Cole at the point guard, Levine and Oladipo at the shot guard, Antetokounmpo, the Greek Freak, and Hezonja at small forward. You got to watch that Hezonja pick, guys. You really do. I mean, that depends on, if people are going to sit or not. And, okay, Anthony Davis, a good pick against Sacramento today. No question there. But David Lee at power forward, and that is the best value across the board, guys. Every entry, if you don't see David Lee in there today, put him in somehow. I'll talk about it later. And DeAndre Jordan at center. Okay, so that is the Roto Grinders lineup. Let's go on. And this is Roto Wire. Roto Wire has Curry and Mills at the point guard, Batum and Redick at the shot guard, both Barnes for the small forward, Davis and West for the power forward. David West should not be David West. David West should be David Lee. And Cousins, no problem with that at center. Okay, they project this at 299. Moving on to Fantasy Pros. You can see it's a little bit slower with cellular data. Fantasy Pros has Curry and Williams at the point guard, Stuckey and Matthews at the shot guard, James and Gay at the small forward, Davis and Cunningham at the power forward. I don't know about Cunningham tonight. You're taking both power forwards against Sack. They are. Anyways, and center Jefferson. I hate that Jefferson pick. Okay, moving on. That was Fantasy Pros, and they're projecting this at 285, guys. Last one is Daily Fantasy Cafe. I know you guys like them because they've been doing pretty much the best in a lot of them lately. I mean, they do project the highest, but they do mess it up once in a while. All right, so they have Holiday and Parker at the point guard. Holiday could be a wonderful play today, guys. Levine is a wonderful play, and Mayo at the shot guard. Not so sure about Mayo. Leonard and Barnes at small forward, Matt Barnes. Power forward is Davis and Turner, and center is Cousins again. No problem with that either. And Daily Fantasy Cafe is projecting this at a 296. All right, so let's move on to my own cash lineup. And like I said, I'll show you guys the entries now a little bit clearer. You can see right there all the $1 50-50s. I enter a couple tournaments at the bottom because I'm going to do some tracking on it and see how they go against it. But this is essentially a cash lineup, guys. All right. And I always say cash lineups are supposed to be balanced, and we have another 7-game slate today, so it's going to be somewhat easy to balance. You just kind of have to be on top of that last-minute player resting. Like it's getting to be more usual now. But the playoffs are coming, guys. The coaches want to make sure their stars rest and that their benches get a little bit of extra time in. That it's all changes around a little bit right here. I'm projecting my own cash lineup at 303 here, and I'm starting with point guards Paul and Peyton tonight. And I have Paul as the only really unbalanced part, I guess you can say, maybe at 10, but he's not, because then at the bottom you have Cousin. So I'll explain. The thing is, he has an unmistakable floor when you pull up his FanDuel stats, and he's got a great point guard matchup against Dallas today. And we just can't deny that he's doing everything for the Clippers right now with Blake out. That's it. So it's the perfect place to start building the 300 floor. We'll round out the point guard position with Peyton tonight because he's going to be playing in a very fast-paced game against Golden State. I think it's like first or second in the league in pace, maybe third. I don't know. It's right up at the top. And he runs like 30-plus minutes in the night. So as long as he just gets a couple layups, a couple assists here and there, you're going to see him do very, very well for cash tonight. All right? At shot guard, we have Levine and Fournier. Now, I really don't understand why Levine isn't cheaper or, more expensive. Why $5,500? I mean, and maybe it's because they think he's more of a dunk showman than like a legit baller. But Charlotte's in the bottom of the league against the shot guard, despite running at snail's pace, They're like kind of the opposite. I think they're like 22nd or 23rd or something. And I think Levine is like, he's just in for another 5 times value game though anyways. If you look at his stats, tell me you don't see value. Like every single game, he just keeps pulling out more than 5 times. He should be at like, 6,200 and make people start to think. But at 55, I don't really have to think. All right, so I'm going to round out with Fournier. Again, the game has a wonderful pace. I explained that one already. And he should see a full run of minutes tonight. He did 26 in his first game back a couple nights ago. He usually does mid-30s, but the Magic got blown out. So he kind of got put on the bench in the second half, and that shouldn't happen again today. All right, at small forward, I have the Greek Freak and Mac Barnes. Now, I don't know if Big A decided to change his breakfast cereal. Whatever Wheaties he's been eating, though, since the break means that you're getting like an elite 10K value player right now for $8,700. There's a lot of value today, so I'm just all over him for that. He should be priced at 10 or 10.2 or something, and he's not. And that extra $1,500 means you're not punting somewhere else, so it really makes it important. I'm not going to say he's going to go off for 60 for a third straight night, and I'll be very high again on this, guys. 48 seems safe to me. I remember that. Without the computer, I remember it, and that's a very high number to estimate. So, and it helps that he plays the Bulls because they give up like more than most teams to the small forward position. I think they're like 9th or 10th or 8th or somewhere around there. Anyways, round out with Matt Barnes because he had 2 disappointing games, but he came back into form yesterday. The same Matt Barnes of old was right there. Put down 17 points down on Phoenix. It was beautiful, and Cleveland's better than Phoenix, but you only need 24 points to hit value here, and that really seems likely on another 35-minute night for him. So he's there. It's a cash game. All right, and at power forward, I have Taj Gibson and David Lee. Now, Gibson had a good 4-day break to heal himself up, and then he put 38 minutes down, against Houston in his return there. And I didn't really like the fantasy numbers he gave us for 38 minutes, but those are those exact same minutes that he'll probably play today, maybe in a couple less, 36 or so. They're going to pay a lot more against the Bucks, like 4th worst in the league again, allowed fantasy points to power forwards. You want to play against the Bucks here. It just makes sense, all right? And then the beauty is you get David Lee right there at $4,500. And he's far and away the best value on the slate today, guys. And it's like Len yesterday. I had to check the projections twice. They came in at 30 for a guy that's priced at $4,500. 30 minutes and a game against the Clippers, too. He's going to be highly owned, guys, everywhere. Across all the games, cash, GPP, you name it. I mean, it would be contrarian not to take him today. So just, you could do that, I guess. But I'll have him in cash, no question. And then at center, I've got Cousins. Because I know it seems like Cousins is either just going to give you 45 on a night or he's going to give you like 58 or something like that. But I think he's in line for the higher number tonight and maybe even a touch more because he's against the Pelicans and they just can't defend the center at all. And with Davis running today, I mean, they're going to keep up with Sacramento. I don't. This isn't going to be a blowout. It's really not. They're at New Orleans too. I mean, it's just going to be a high-scoring game. That's all you're going to see. So, I'm all over Boogie today in cash. No worries. You just have to pick the right days to play or fade these big number guys. So why did I fade Davis, right? It's because I'm taking David Lee for sure, guys, and Gibson is equals half of Davis's 9,900 fantasy price, but he's projected way more than half of his fantasy point total, so it makes great sense for me to just get him at half the price, right? I don't need Davis's high point. I mean, Davis goes for 70. I'm kind of screwed on that, but all right. So, and that's my cash lineup. And now, guys, so this is for your bonus since I couldn't do projections. I have another upcoming entry. It's entered in the free roll up here. This is your final one. This is a bonus optimal lineup from the new optimizer that was launched by Max Delury. And those of you guys that don't are new to fantasy or anything, he is literally the #1 fantasy player. His screen name when you're on the sites, like mine says like Mike Miller 888 in the corner down there. His says Max Delury. And he's the #1 player on FanDuel and on DraftKings, I believe. Anyways, his tool's called RotoQL. And this is a projected lineup at 334. So if you guys are a big believer in computers, you already know what to do. But I would still take all the knowledge you learn each day and build your own lineup off of all of ours. I mean, I wish I could give you guys more, but we're dealing with this power outage over here in LA because of the rain. I'm going to be probably uploading this at Starbucks. I mean, everyone in the country, please laugh at us. I don't think any other city shuts down like we do over a bit of water. It's just horrible. Real fast, we have Paul again at point guard, Norris Cole. It's a game. It's not a blowout. If Cole plays, that could be good. Middleton with the Bulls against, again, that's good because, especially if it's a high-scoring game. Wesley Matthews paid last night. It was looking a little scary at halftime, but he came through in the second half, and it might be the same way again. But as long as he pays value, you got the Greek Freak, you got Leonard, you got Parker, and Parker definitely paid value yesterday. You got David Lee, who's definitely the best on the board, and Bogut paid value yesterday too, I believe. So this does look like a strong lineup as well. And I may run it myself, guys. It came from an optimizer, and it was at 334. That's really, really high. So, all right, back to me real fast. All right, so like I said, guys, go ahead and just send me a Twitter or leave a comment on the video if you want a projection on an individual player. I went through some of the guys tonight. I went through the optimal lineup on our extra bonus since I didn't do full projections today. I went through all the guys on my own lineup. That's pretty much today's show, guys. Okay, so please follow me on Twitter at MikeMiller78 for the latest news, injury info, projections, all that stuff. I hope you guys all won yesterday. Always remember smart bankroll management no matter what you do. Have a great start to the week and go out and go win some money.